Welcome to Late Onset Blues Guitar. This is April 2022. We haven't done these late onset blues for a couple months, and some of my followers have been asking me to do something else. But I want to talk about a few things before we get into the lesson called Duh, More Rhythm. Anyway, we'll talk a little bit about sestronics. We've got some stomp tone reds and some stomp tone blues. We're getting ready to make them. They're actually finally into our manufacturer, and we should see those within the next month or two, and we'll go up on the website when we have them. So pay attention to that if you would. We think they are a great sounding pedal. And the other thing is we're working on some people to do some demos of the Sestronics products so you can really see how they sound in the hands of some great players. Now we're going to get into more rhythm stuff. We're going to start the lesson with the Funk 4s that Ross Bolton gave us, and I talked about this earlier on. And I'm going to break this lesson down a little bit differently, where I'm slowing it down to 100 beats per minute, and I'm doing the 4s across one measure, 2 4s across one measure. I'm going 1 EN, a 2 EN, a 3 EN, a 4 EN. That's going to give us the opportunity to actually play this and get in with the rhythm. I've got a pulsating bass pattern that's just an A chord. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through the pattern. So I'm going to initially emphasize the first beat, the 1, and then the E, and the and then the So you can see how you can clamp your strings and scratch, and then on the right beat you squeeze it to let that beat out. This is not something that you would do necessarily in blues, but it's again building that rhythm clock, and I want to come back to this because we didn't spend much time actually looking at how to do this. That's what I'd like to do right now, is kind of go through this, and I'll probably play like 4 times through on each beat, and you'll hear me cycle through. And that's what you can do as a practice thing. It's rather boring, but boring is okay. We still want to build that clock. And let's give this a shot and see how it works. Here's the pulse. And I can start anywhere because there's nothing really going on. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a. Anyway, that's what we want to do for working on the Ross Bolton 16th note strumming. This is a little difficult. Some of my friends have told me they are not doing it because it's difficult. So I broke it down into this a little bit simpler type of pattern where we're doing the 16th over a bar, 2 16ths over 1 bar at a slow beat. Great thing to do. This is a very challenging thing to do. And I think you're going to really be happy with the results once you get this under your belt. First, let me tell you a little bit about shuffles. Shuffles are based on a triplet feel. And shuffles are not as simple as they sound. A triplet is like a ta-ta-ta. That's it. 1, 2, 3, ta-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta. And when you get into a shuffle, it's not doing that. It's going ta-ta. Ta-ta, ta-ta. The first 2 tas are tied together. So it's a real odd thing. So this is like in place of a quarter note, you're actually playing a triplet, ta-ta-ta. But as a shuffle, it's ta-ta, ta-ta. So it's a little hard to grasp. And the best way you can grasp this is just play it. And think about the music as you play it. And remember, it's like ta-ta. That's a shuffle feel, and that shuffle feel needs to be worked on, and blues is made of shuffles. So we're going to do some shuffles and play some different patterns with it and give you an opportunity to see what I'm doing and see if any of it resonates with you. The first pattern we're going to do is a shuffle, and I'm going to hit the 1 beat. And just play on the 1 beat. And you're going to see what effect accenting these different beats in the pattern has. So let's go ahead and start this, and we're going to start on the 1 beat. And then, well, we'll just do this, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do as we go through. And the bass may be in, yeah, now we're in the 4 chord. 1, 5. Now we're going to play this through again, and I'm going to add the 3 beat to this. So I'm going to accent the 1 and the 3. I'm just going to hit a straight chord, nothing fancy. Now we're going to do something we don't do much in the blues, but we're going to accent the 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, so we just finished accenting the different beats of the pattern as we go through. We did the 1, we did the 1 and 3, and the 2 and 4. And the 1 is pretty usable at times if you want to stay out of people's way while you're playing in a group. The 1 and 3 is very powerful, and we use that a lot in blues jams or playing the blues period. And the 2 and 4 is more of a Motown R&B thing that you might use, but they're all reasonable. The thing is, playing it this way gives you the opportunity to practice moving these beats around. It's all locked into that shuffle feel, but this should give you the opportunity to really begin to feel the different beats. And this is taken from, I'm reading over here, Keith Wyatt, Basics 5 Blues Guitar Rhythm Chops. This is where I got this. He's got like over an hour of doing this. Keith is a fabulous teacher. We've only got a few minutes. He's going to go through this stuff in much more detail. So if you feel like this is something you want to get more involved in, go to Keith Wyatt's video, and I think you'll find a lot more illumination. Now I want to do another pattern. It's called the upbeat pattern. So we're going to do the same thing we did, but we're going to play it all on upbeats. This is a usable pattern anytime you're at a blues jam, but you need to listen to what the other players are playing. But so we're going to be going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and emphasizing the ands as we go through this. Same thing we just did. So we're going to start the looper again, and we're going to play a few upbeats. Then we're going to go to something a little different than that. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So that's the upbeat pattern. I think it will do a lot of good for you just to get this feel. So remember to play around with it. Well, you can find these blues jam tracks all over YouTube. Find a shuffle pattern in any key, maybe all the keys you can find, and try accents as you go through the pattern. This will really start to give you the emphasis on the different beats and build the clock that I'm always talking about. Now we're going to do a fun shuffle pattern. This one is emphasizing beats 1, 2, 3 and not playing the 4. And as we do that, we're going to play the 1, 4, 1 chord. This is something that I like to play all the time. And to do this, I'm going to be playing we talked about the inverted sevenths and thirds, and we're going to be using that to play this with. Now, if you will remember that this position right here, this is an A note, this is the third, and this is the seventh of an A. If I play those two notes, I'm actually playing enough of a diatonic to outline the A and sound a bit like a horn part. If I slide down 1/2 step, this represents the third of the D, and this is the seventh. So these actually switch positions as you go through. And finally, if I started here, this is the seventh of the E and the third of the E. And I can also rock these back and forth as we go through to go to the 1/4. Now remember, as we walk through, the same 1/4 I'm talking about is not the same for each chord. For example, the 1/4 in A is AD. In the D, it's DG. And the E, it's EA. So the 4 I'm talking about is really relative to whatever chord you're playing at the time. So we're going to do this, and I hope this is useful, and I certainly use it all the time. So we'll turn on the maestro and get started. We'll start on the D. Anyway, that's fun with the 1s and 4s. A great pattern to be playing. By the way, when I'm doing the 1, so to add more harmonic motion, what I'm doing is first hitting on this and bringing in my fingers like this, so I'm rocking really on this third. Remember, the third in the blues, even though we're in a minor pentatonic, it's a really powerful note as you go through, so I'm going. So that little walking, rocking thing adds a little more harmonic motion. So remember, if you play on the third a bit as you're going through this, it'll add some more life to your playing. And what I'm doing here as I go through the E and the D is I'm just simply playing, that actually turns out to be a D6 if I hit everything, and then this is a G from the G pattern we talked about from short chords. This is the E, and there's the A. And so you can use these as you walk through, and as a lazy man, which I am, I like to use these positions because it's very quick and easy to get to. That's fun with rhythm. I hope you enjoyed this. Remember, all these little exercises will help build that rhythm clock.